Hey, what's up, folks? If you hear water and stuff going on in the background, that's because there's stuff going on in the background, which is cool. It's nice to have a little BGS background sound. So here I am trying to put the pieces together of this cookie puzzle, which I found in, I don't know what to call it, something like a farmer's market. Not exactly. They sell like veggies and all kinds of stuff. And this is one thing I found. I thought it was really cool, and I really wanted to buy it. And the expiry date is July 2nd, which is today. So yeah, have I been putting things off? Maybe a little bit. But anyway, as I talk about putting the pieces of the puzzle together and things breaking down, I'd like to mention one successful and one unsuccessful activity that I've done with ESL classes, or English classes for English language learners. So the first one was Save the Hotel, and basically it was just like I presented a situation. Okay, there's this hotel, it's in trouble, they're going out of business. We need to figure out a way to promote the hotel. We need to, save people's jobs and yada. So how can we promote it? How can we save the hotel? And it was interesting because at the time, one of my students actually owned some hotels, like I think in Europe somewhere. So that was interesting. Yeah. But, however, possibly the English level was at that time was maybe not enough, or the other problem was that I didn't really pre-teach any vocabulary to the students. I didn't really prep them for it. I just kind of threw them this situation and sort of threw them into it and said, what do we do? Looking back on it now, perhaps I could have given them like the paper the day before that explains the situation, tell them, take this home, kind of think about it, check all the vocabulary, and then when you come tomorrow, you'll be ready to talk about it. Something along those lines, or just stretching it out a little more. It really depends on students, if students are into it, and also if students, it's really tough. If students think it's useful for them, then they'll be into it. Or if they think it's interesting or fun, they might be into it. But if they think, this is not really useful for my life or my, future, my English learning goals, then you might want to just cut it out, chop it out, and go to something else. I thought it was a cool activity. I'm not sure about others. I thought maybe it related to some people who actually worked in the customer service and hotel industry. But yeah, anyway, so it wasn't such a great activity in the end. It was a little interesting for a few, but it didn't really work for everybody. And then the next one I'll talk about is the successful and quite good, interesting activity that I did. It was team teaching with another teacher in Japan at a high school. We had a lot of time left over in our class. We had a few more classes before the term finished. And she asked me, do you have any ideas, something we could do for the class? And I was reading a lot of, English teaching stuff at the time. And somehow the idea popped into my head that, why don't we tell students to create a new class? So if you could create a new class at the school, what would it be? And maybe that language is a little hard for some people. So to simplify, you could just say, what new class do you want to have at the school? But of course, the situation is pretty theoretical, because I don't think after that final project presentation, I don't think any of those classes actually came to be. But anyway, it was fun. So it was, yeah, if you could make a new class at the school, at the high school, what would it be? So there was already like music class and math and some English classes and PE, of course, and a few other courses. So yeah, students came up with what they were interested in, and it was they were not paired, they were in groups of 3. And one person would be like a narrator. So that means if that person doesn't like to act, then they don't have to act. They can narrate, they can read. And then the other 2 could like either act or, be some kind of prop of sorts or other characters. But anyway, the general rule was there was only one rule, basically, that everyone has to speak. So everyone has to use English somehow. So yeah, a lot of students decided they wanted to create a sleeping class. It was just like a napping class, which at first I thought that might not be so interesting, but they came up with some interesting ways to present that. And what other classes were there? I think there was like a dance class, like a sort of like an otaku dance class, like learning how to do those crazy dances that super fans do of these Japanese pop groups. That was pretty cool. And then I think there was a girls group who they said they wanted to have like a hair and makeup class, sort of like learning how to be a hairstylist. Like, yeah, hair and makeup styling. That was a pretty good idea. I mean, I'm sure that if that class existed, that people would want to take it. So, yep. One successful and one unsuccessful project. There it is. As I mentioned before, like I said, I was going to talk about it, and there you are. I've got plenty more where that came from, but yeah, ciao for now.